After 60, most people assume blood tests are simple. You fast. You show up. You wait for the results. But new research shows that how you prepare even small habits can quietly change the outcome. In fact, nearly half of all blood panels in seniors show false elevations or deficiencies, not because of disease, but because of something they did the morning of the test. We're talking about innocent mistakes, skipping water, taking vitamins, having a sip of coffee. Each one can shift your numbers just enough to trigger a misdiagnosis. And here's the part that really scares me. Some of these mistakes can make your kidneys look like they're failing, or make your cholesterol look dangerously high when it's not. That's exactly what happened to Frank, a 66-year-old retiree who thought he was perfectly healthy. He fasted, he skipped breakfast, he followed instructions, or so he thought. 3 days later, the doctor called Frank. Your kidney numbers look bad. We need to run more tests. But the real cause, he didn't drink water that morning. And that one tiny oversight made his blood look dangerously concentrated. Frank redid the test with water. Everything came back normal. No kidney failure, no panic, no prescriptions. In this video, I'll show you the 5 most common blood test mistakes seniors make and how to avoid them. We'll count down to the most dangerous one of all, the one that sends thousands of seniors into unnecessary treatments every year. And more importantly, I'll show you how to fix each one with simple changes starting before your next test. Leave a comment below with your age and the last time you had blood work done. We're reading and replying with tips tailored to your routine. Now let's begin with mistake 5. It sounds harmless, but it can make your labs look like your kidneys are in trouble. Mistake number 5 is skipping water before your blood test. It sounds harmless, maybe even smart. After all, fasting means nothing in your stomach, right? But here's what most people don't realize, especially after 60. Skipping water before a blood draw doesn't give you a cleaner test, it gives you a less accurate one. When your body is dehydrated, your blood thickens. Doctors call this hemocentration. It's like turning juice into syrup. Everything inside that blood looks more concentrated than it really is. Kidney numbers elevated. Red blood cells too high. Even your electrolytes might look off and trigger alarms your doctor didn't expect. I once met Frank, a 66-year-old who took his health seriously. He walked daily, ate light dinners, and always showed up early for appointments. But after his routine blood test, he got a call that shook him. Frank, your kidney numbers don't look good. We need to investigate further. He was terrified. Started picturing dialysis, long treatments, a new diet, even hospital bills. At the follow-up, the doctor asked, "Did you drink any water that morning?" Frank said no. He thought fasting meant absolutely nothing. Turns out that missing glass of water had made his blood so concentrated, it looked like his kidneys were failing. He retested a week later. This time he drank 2 glasses of water an hour before. Everything came back normal. So here's your fix. Drink 1 to 2 cups of plain water about 1 hour before your blood test unless your doctor says otherwise. It won't break your fast. In fact, it helps your body give more accurate results. Bonus tip. Bring a small water bottle and sip while you wait. It helps with hydration and makes blood easier to draw. If you've ever walked into a test on an empty stomach and empty of water, just type guilty in the comments. And speaking of innocent habits that mess with your results, let's move on to mistake number 4, and this one starts with your morning vitamins. Mistake number 4, taking supplements before your test. It sounds like a healthy habit. You wake up, take your vitamins like always, then head out to get your blood drawn. But here's the catch, that simple routine could be throwing your results off sometimes by a lot. Most people don't realize this, but over-the-counter supplements, even the natural ones, can interfere with lab values in surprising ways. Vitamin C, for example, can make your kidneys look healthier than they are by lowering creatinine levels. Iron pills can make it seem like you have too much iron in your blood or completely hide signs of anemia. And biotin, often found in hair and skin supplements, can seriously distort your thyroid results. That one is especially dangerous if your doctor is watching for thyroid problems. I remember Maria, 71, active, sharp as a tack. She was on a mix of fish oil, B12, and a daily multi. Her doctor called after her blood test with worrying news. "Your thyroid looks way off." She was shocked. Everything else in her life felt fine. We took a closer look and realized she'd taken her supplements just an hour before her test. A week later, she retested, no supplements that morning. And guess what? Her numbers were perfectly normal. Here's the fix. Unless your doctor says otherwise, skip all supplements for 24 hours before your blood test. And if there's something you have to take, let the lab know so they can mark your file. Bonus tip. Write down every supplement you take with the exact brand and dosage and hand that list to the lab tech. It could save you from a scary and totally avoidable misdiagnosis. Now let's move to mistake number 3. And this one starts with a good intention, but ends in confusion. Mistake number 3. Skipping your medications without asking your doctor. You want your blood test to be accurate, so you think maybe I should skip my pills, just for today. It sounds logical, but it's one of the most dangerous mistakes you can make before a lab test. Let me explain. When you suddenly stop your regular medication, especially ones that control blood pressure, blood sugar, or heart rhythm, your body can go into rebound mode. It's like slamming the brakes after driving on cruise control. Your system overreacts, blood pressure can spike, blood sugar can surge, liver enzymes can jump, and sodium levels can crash, especially if you're on a diuretic. I once worked with George, 69. He was taking metformin for diabetes and a beta blocker for his heart. But before his routine test, he skipped both, thinking the results would show how his body works naturally. 3 days later, he got a call. "George, your fasting glucose is way up. Your heart enzymes are elevated. We may need to change your medications." He was shocked. He'd been feeling fine. But the test didn't show his real condition. It showed a body in sudden withdrawal. A 2021 study found that 20% of seniors who skipped their meds before labs ended up with abnormal results, not because of illness, but because of medication disruption. So here's your fix. Always follow your doctor's instructions. Unless your doctor specifically tells you to pause a medication, take it as usual, even the morning of your test. Bonus tip. Write down which pills you took and the time you took them. Hand that note to the lab technician. Coming up. Mistake number 2. It starts with a hot drink you probably thought was harmless, but it silently distorts your blood sugar. Mistake number 2. Drinking coffee or tea before a fasting blood test. You skipped breakfast. You fasted like you were told. But on your way out the door, you sipped a cup of coffee. Just black. No sugar, no cream. It seems harmless, right? Unfortunately, even plain black coffee can throw off your test results, especially if you're over 60. Here's why: caffeine triggers your adrenal glands to release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And when cortisol rises, so does your blood sugar, even if you haven't eaten. In a 2022 study, just 1 cup of coffee raised fasting glucose levels by 8 to 10 mg/dl in older adults. For someone on the edge of prediabetes, that could tip you into a misdiagnosis. Now add a splash of cream or a little sweetener. That's when things really go off. One study found that just 1 teaspoon of cream raised insulin levels by 28% compared to people who only drank water. And tea isn't innocent either. Green tea, for example, can interfere with platelet counts. Even decaf contains bioactive compounds that may alter your liver enzymes or glucose. I once met Linda, 72. She loved her early morning tea every day, including the morning of her test. Her doctor called her with concerns about her blood sugar and clotting function. She was scared. But the next test, done with only water, came back perfectly normal. Here's the fix. Only drink plain water for 8 to 12 hours before a fasting blood test. No coffee, no tea, not even decaf. Bonus tip. If you're unsure whether your routine drink is allowed, ask your doctor or lab in advance. Fasting isn't just about food, it's about chemistry. Have you ever had coffee or tea before a test, thinking it was okay? Type "I thought it was fine" in the comments. Now, let's move on to the number 1 most overlooked mistake, the one that can sabotage your results even if you do everything else right. Mistake number 1. Getting your blood test at the wrong time of day. You finally book your test. But instead of going first thing in the morning, you wait until the afternoon, maybe after lunch or once traffic dies down. Sounds reasonable. But this one simple choice can quietly sabotage your results. Here's why: certain blood markers follow a natural rhythm. They rise and fall depending on the time of day. Doctors call this a diurnal pattern. Cortisol, for example, your stress hormone, is highest in the morning and lowest in the late afternoon. If you get tested at 4 p.m., your cortisol could be 60% lower than it would have been at 8 a.m. That's enough to trigger a false diagnosis of adrenal fatigue, even if your body is perfectly fine. The same goes for TSH, thyroid-stimulating hormone testosterone, and even triglycerides. Lipid levels are lowest in the early morning, but they rise as the day goes on, especially after food movement or stress. I remember Harold, 70. His doctor ordered a hormone panel, but Harold didn't make it to the lab until 3:30 p.m. When the results came back, his cortisol was flagged as dangerously low. They ran extra tests, sent him to an endocrinologist, only to find out he was just tested at the wrong time. The fix: always schedule your blood test between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. unless your doctor says otherwise. That's when most lab reference ranges are designed to be accurate. Bonus tip: if you have to go later in the day, tell the technician and your doctor what time your sample was taken. They may be able to adjust their interpretation accordingly. Coming up next, let's wrap this up with a quick recap. One simple rule to remember, and how to take full control of your blood test accuracy starting today. So there you have it, 5 small mistakes that can quietly sabotage your blood test results. None of them are dramatic, but they can lead to dramatic consequences: false diagnoses, unnecessary medications, and days of worry over something that was never really wrong. Your blood isn't just numbers. It's a reflection of your body's current state. And when you prepare properly, those numbers tell the truth, not a distorted version. So remember, drink water. Skip the supplements. Take your medications unless your doctor says otherwise. No coffee or tea. And show up early, ideally between 7 and 9 a.m. These are small actions, but they protect your peace of mind. And if you've ever walked out of a doctor's office confused by your results, you're not broken. You've just been missing the right tools. Let's fix that together. Tomorrow I'm sharing a brand new video packed with simple but powerful health tips to protect your heart, your brain, and your energy, especially after 60. These are things most people overlook, but they make all the difference as we age. So stay tuned, and I'll see you tomorrow. If this video helped you, don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me which of these 5 mistakes have you made before I read every single one. And I'll respond with tips to help. See you in the next one.